أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. We were discussing verse number 18 of Surah Al Imran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم شهد الله أنه لا إله إلا هو والملائكة وأولو العلم قائما بالقسط لا إله إلا هو العزيز الحكيم. Allah bears witness that there is no God except Him, and so do the angels and those who possess knowledge, maintainer of justice. There is no God but Him, the Almighty, the All-Wise. We discussed about the elegance of this verse last week and the merits, some of the merits mentioned in the books of Tafsir and in books of Hadith. Now let's go into the meaning of the verse. The first thing that we have to clarify is that shahida has two meanings. Shahida, yashhadu, may mean to bear witness. That means to see something, to witness something, and know about it. And the second meaning of it is to testify. After having witnessed something, to testify to that. So both meanings are the meanings of shahida, although the first meaning is apparently the main meaning of shahida, and the second meaning, that's testifying, is an extension of that meaning, which later on has become in use. So having these two meanings in mind, we can now see what meaning we can get from this verse. The first meaning we have, I have to mention before going to the first meaning, is that we have layers of meanings here based on what meaning shahida would give us, or what meaning we give to shahida in the verse, whether it's bearing witness or testifying, as it is said, then we may get layers of meaning here. I have actually pointed to 4 layers of meanings here for the verse, which I will go through them one by one. First, if we take shahida as bearing witness, not testifying, bearing witness, is the first meaning would be that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is witnessing His Tawheed in a level, in a realm that no one has ever been able and will ever be able to reach. That level of priority to creation. Prior to creation, He has witnessed to that for His unity. And even after the creation, because this priority is not priority in time, there is a realm, there is a level that only Allah can witness. No one else can reach that realm to witness the unity of Allah in that sense. This is actually something which is mentioned in a hadith from Abdullah ibn Abbas rahmatullah alayhi. قال ابن عباس شهد بنفسه لنفسه قبل أن يخلق الخلق. Before creation, before creating anything. And this priority may not mean before in sense of time, in a realm which is above, which is before this realm. There is this witness, Shahid Allah. This witness that Allah is bearing for Himself. قبل أن يخلق الخلق ولم تكن سماء ولا أرض ولا بر ولا بحر. when there was no heaven and no earth, no land and no sea. فَقَالَ شَهِدَ اللَّهُ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ. Certainly, of course, if we can witness by our hearts something about unity of God, that is witnessed by Him in a realm before this realm in a much more splendid way. And if we use that as also is mentioned by many mystics about this sort of witnessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we can say that others have such a witness based on the expansion and extent of their capacity to comprehend this unity. There is this verse about this dua Munajatul Arifin of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, talks about this level of witnessing. Okay, in that realm where Allah witnesses to His unity, to Himself, that's no one can reach. However, the angels at a lower level, in a lower realm, can also witness that based on their capacity of witnessing. Of course, Jibreel can witness that, can see that. We don't mean seeing by eyes, in a way that no other angel can see. The angels of the higher realm, the higher council, can witness that in a way that no angel from the lower realm can see that and can witness that. And then people, based on the purity of their hearts and based on their nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they can witness that according to their capacity as well. This Munajatul Arifin that I was going to recite, in this Munajat, of course, Imam alayhi salam is asking for removal of veils from before his heart, eyes of the heart, so that he can have the true and the elegant ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make us from those who قَدْ كُشِفَتِ الْغِطَاءُ عَنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. The covering has been lifted from their eyes. The darkness of disquiet has been dispelled from their beliefs and their innermost minds. Their breasts have expanded through the verification of true knowledge, and their spirits have reached certitude through triumph and prosperity. Their eyes have been gladdened through gazing upon their beloved. وَقَرَّتْ بِالنَّظَرِ إِلَى مَحْبُوبِهِمْ أَعْيُنُهُمْ. Of course, this is eyes of the heart, not eyes of the head. So, yes, there are a group of people who can have such a nice witnessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of His Tawheed. And this is what he says. So the first layer or the first level of meaning here is Shahidallah annahu la ilaha illahu. This type of witnessing that Allah witnesses. Wal malaika, also the angels, according to their capacity, can witness that. And wa ulul ilm, not of course all humans can witness that. Those who have knowledge, those who have the ma'rifah, can witness that. So this is the first level. The second level of meaning, we may take shahada in the second meaning, and that is in terms of testifying, not witnessing, but testifying. And according to this meaning is that Allah is conveying this testimony of Tawheed to his angels. And the angels convey this to the ulul ilm, the anbiya and awliya. And then of course they convey it to people, but that sort of transfer of knowledge is very different from this type of coming from Allah to the angels to ulul ilm. So Allah people that yes, it is the case. La ilaha illallah. Wa'alam annahu la ilaha illallah. You should know that there is no ilah but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third layer of meaning is a different sense of shahida. This is testimony, of course. Allah testifies. But this testimony is something that everyone can understand. Everyone can comprehend. And that is what is mentioned by some of the Tabi'un, شهد الله بتدبيره العجيب وصنعه المتقن وأموره المحكمة أنه لا إله إلا هو. We can see by reflection, we can see by tadabbur, by tafakkur, by deliberation, we can see the wonders of his creation, the hikmah and knowledge which has been put in this creation. And this is a witness. And the harmony of this creation everywhere is a witness, or is a testimony, is a testimony that La ilaha illallah. And of course, this testimony differs, it has different levels based on the comprehension and understanding of the person who takes it. Faiz Kashani, rahmatullah alayhi, mentions something very interesting in Tafsir of Surah. He says that بين وحدانيته لقوم بظهوره في كل شيء وتعرفه ذاته في كل نور وفيء. For a group of people, he has uncovered his Tawheed by manifesting himself in everything. You can see him in everything. You can see him in the seed when it grows. You can see him in the fetus when it's created. You can see him in the rain when it's coming. You can see him in the universe. In everything he has manifested himself, his knowledge, his power. إِنَّ اللَّهَ فَالِقُ الْحَبَّ وَالنَّوَى يُخْرِجُ الْحَيَّ مِنَ الْمَيِّتِ وَيُخْرِجُ الْمَيِّتَ مِنَ الْحَيِّ ذَلِكُمُ اللَّهُ. This is Allah. You cannot see. You cannot see when the seeds shoot out and sprout. You cannot see him. So for some people, he has showed him in everything. بنسب الدلائل الدالة عليها. So has put all these dalail and demonstrations for them. وَلِقَوْمٍ بِإِنزَالِ الْآيَاتِ النَّاطِقَةِ بِهَا. And for some other people, he has sent ayat telling them about you can see in the universe if they want to hear. And this is, of course, the testimony of Allah. Shahid Allah, we took it in the meaning of testimony in this third layer. And also, وَالْمَلَائِكَةِ. Also, malaika, the angels testify, لِقَوْمٍ بِالْإِقْرَارِ ذَاتًا لِقَوْمٍ وَفِعْلًا لِقَوْمٍ وَقَوْلًا لِقَوْمٍ. Just the very existence of angels is a testimony for some people who see the malakut, and the acts of them is another testimony, and they bring message from Allah, qawlan, for some other people. Wa ulul ilm, and also ulul ilm, as we have wal malaikata wa ulul ilm, their faith, their strength of their commitment to Allah, their fear, their khashiyah. What we see from them is all testifying to Tawheed. It's very beautiful what he says. So وأولو العلم بالإيمان والعيان والبيان شبه الظهور والإظهار. So this is something which Faiz Kashmani mentions. So this was the third layer of meaning here. The fourth layer of meaning is a philosophical testimony. And that is when we can realize that the existence, that's what they call Burhan al-Siddiqeen, the existence is either wajib al-wujud or mumkin al-wujud. Is either contingent or necessary. And if everything is contingent, then it should go back to something necessary. Otherwise, we go into a vicious circle or into tasalsul. And therefore, the very existence itself, without the harmony, without the sort of wonders of this creation, just the very existence of the being in itself is a testimony to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah doesn't need to be given proof for his existence by anything but the existence. أَيَكُونُ لَغَيْرَكَ مِنَ الظُّهُورِ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ. Has anything beyond you or beside you have a manifestation which you do not have? The very existence is your manifestation. So these are the different layers of meaning here. And as I said, it's a splendid ayah in the Quran. شهد الله أنه لا إله إلا هو والملائكة وأولو العلم قائما بالقسط. قائما بالقسط. قائم means he is standing. We discussed the meaning of qayyum. Qayyum is the exaggerated form of qa'im. And qa'im is someone who is holding everything, who is preserving everything, and that is with qist, with justice. Now this qa'iman bil qist is a very beautiful expression. أَفَمَنْ هُوَ قَائِمٌ عَلَى كُلِّ نَفْسٍ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ. He is qa'im on every soul, he is qa'im on everything. And the meaning of qist here means that when he wanted to create, he created everything based on the need of the whole system. So human being is a part of it, angels are part of it, animals part of it, the universe part of it. And all these, the harmony between them, needs a sort of justice to be done to every creation. So if I'm created as a human being, it's because it was just in the eyes of Allah to do it. If something else is created as an animal, it's because of just, if the universe is created because it was just, and he is keeping everything with qist, it means that he's giving them life, existence, based on the original qist that he has given. Sometimes people ask, why creation, or even in our human life, why people are different? We say that because it is based on hikmah. Allah gives everyone and everything what they need for their perfection. And the perfection of everything is in accordance to its own creation and description. And therefore, the human being, for example, what should be given to them is different from what should be given to plants. And every individual as well. And Allah is giving everything. الَّذِي خَلَقَ فَسَوَّى وَالَّذِي قَدَّرَ فَهَدَى. He measured and guided everything to its perfection. Then the question comes, okay, why created differently? Why all these differences are there? Why didn't he create everything equal? Is that justice? That there are so many differences, inequalities in creation? Well, that is based on qist, that is based on the hikmah that Allah has envisaged for the whole creation. And inshallah, when our ma'rifah is deepened, and especially when we go to higher stages of our existence, to barzakh, to afterlife, then we will see that everything is based on qist. So, shahidallah annahu la ilaha illahu wal malaika wa ulul ilm qa'iman bil qist. La ilaha illahu al azizul hakim. Al aziz is powerful, of course, and hakim is wise. You can see that in the creation. These are the two mostly witnessed qualities of Allah in the creation. The power you see, the wisdom you see. And the whole creation is based on these two qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is actually another testimony or the existence is a testimony for his izzah, power, and for his hikmah, wisdom. Then, if you remember, we said that the whole surah, or the 80-something verses of the surah, at the beginning of surah, was revealed when the delegation from Najran came to have a debate with the Prophet, peace be upon him. The next verse, actually, after having established the principle of Tawheed, and that Allah and Malaika and Ulul Ilm, they bear witness, and they testify both to his Tawheed, then Allah talks about the religion which guides us to that Tawheed. The religion which is in harmony with that Tawheed. That's the most important thing. I mean, if Allah is Wahid, then the religion should be in harmony with that reality in creation. The reality and the i'tiqad, the belief, should match each other. If Allah is Wahid, and then we believe in different gods, in several gods, then the belief and reality would not match. And if there is a way to go closer in terms of ma'rifah to Allah, then that way should be adopted and other ways should be discarded. And this is what is mentioned in verse number 19. إِنَّ الدِّينَ إِنَّ اللَّهِ الْإِسْلَامِ وَمَا اخْتَلَفَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ إِلَّا مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَهُمُ الْعِلْمُ بَغْيًا بَيْنَهُمْ وَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ. Indeed, with Allah, religion is Islam. And those who were given the book did not differ except after knowledge had come to them, out of envy among themselves. And whoever defies Allah's signs should know that Allah is swift and in reckoning. Now here, it's very interesting because some people think that this verse is in somehow contradiction with verse 62 of Surah Baqarah. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَالَّذِينَ هَادُوا وَالنَّصَارَى وَالصَّابِئِينَ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا فَلَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ. The Christians, the Jews, the Sabi'in, the Muslims, whoever does good, believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment, and does good, they have their reward with their Lord. And there is no fear on them, no worry. However, here it says, إِنَّ الدِّينَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الْإِسْلَامِ. The religion with Allah is only Islam. So is there a contradiction here? In that verse, it talks about different religions fulfilling the function of religion, giving the prosperity, the reward that followers of every religion should have. And here it says, no, only Islam. Inna ad-din inda Allah al-Islam. And Ahlul Kitab did not have any argument about it, did not differ in that deen inda Allah is Islam. وَمَا اخْتَلَفَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ, unless, except after knowledge came to them, إِلَّا مِن بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَهُمُ الْعِلْمُ. And this difference was not due to lack of understanding. It was not due to sort of tastes and different inclinations in belief or misunderstanding of faith. It was بَغْيًا بَيْنَهُمْ. It was because of envy, because of dhulm, because of trying to overpower each other, because of ra'asa and leadership. These are all come from baghy. So they had no argument about that, except after knowledge came to them. It was not a blind sort of choice, and it was based on baghy. Now, how do we tally between these two verses? Verse 62 of Surah Baqarah and verse 19 of Surah Al Imran. Inshallah, we'll discuss it in our next session. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Just Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me now? Okay, very good. No problem, no problem. Okay. Okay, no problem.
Okay, hopefully now they can hear me as well. So,
Okay.
Sheikh, if we begin with the first question.
Sure.
So the first question actually is a question that we received last week.
Yes.
The question is, it's based on what you mentioned about the Imam saying last week. You said that the Imam says the ayah 18 when they're born.
Yes,
So
yes.
if this is the case, and we are aware that this is the case, why is there any dispute in imamate of the seventh imam?
Well, not everyone was present when the Imam was born, and some of these narrations are not accepted by some other groups who do not see the seventh Imam to be the Imam, and therefore there's always this dispute, and most of these disputes began with political issues rather than theological issues, and then it grew, and then some people rejected such narrations because they did not accept it based on their political inclinations. So that's why, I mean, even at the beginning, we believe that Imam Ali alayhi salam should have done the same thing when he was born, and as the Prophet should have done. Of course, at that time, this ayah was not, at the time of Prophet, the ayah was not revealed yet, but Prophet also showed signs of miraculous birth as well. So that's why some people do not accept such narrations based on their theology.
Okay, thank
Hello?
you very much,
Yeah,
Sheikh.
okay.
So if we move on to the next question, would you be able to add some more detail to what Allah's witnessing means?
Well, that witnessing is actually his knowledge. I mean, before creating everything, knowledge is an attribute of essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And because Tawheed is a reality, actually the most spectacular reality in the world, in of course, world is the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but in every realm. So he witnesses that by his knowledge, and that is the utter reality, utter truth when Allah witnesses that. Reality, utter truth when Allah witnesses that.
Okay, Sheikh, the next question is the religion from the start of the creation is Islam. If it is the same as we have it today, then did it come in stages so people at the time can understand it better, or what is the explanation?
Well, we will discuss this in more details in our next session, inshallah. However, yes, of course, the religion was Islam, the Sharia, which is the core of religion, that is Tawheed and believing in the hereafter, the details of these things, the chain of prophets, these are the core of that one religion, Islam. However, of course, people over time in different cultures may have had different needs based on what sort of rulings should be legislated for them, for example, in the book. That may differ among people. In Surah Al-Hajj, Allah mentions that وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ جَعَلْنَا مَنْسَكًا هُمْ نَاسِكُوهُ. For every nation, we have legislated a set of worships, a set of standards of worship that they follow it. But your Lord, فَإِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ. But you should know that your Lord is one Lord, the one who legislated different forms of worship is the one Lord. Also, in another ayah, it says, لِكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا مِنْكُمْ شِرْعَةً وَمِنْهَاجًا. For every nation of you, we have legislated a shir'ah and a code of practicing that shir'ah. Shir'ah is different from sharia. Sharia is that core of religion. Of course, nowadays we use sharia for the precepts, for the practical aspects of faith. However, the Quran doesn't use it in that sense. It says that شَرَعَ لَكُم مِّنَ الدِّينِ مَا وَصَّى بِهِ نُوحًا وَالَّذِي أَوْحَيْنَا عَلَيْكَ. The same Sharia that we gave to Nuh, we gave it to you, to Moses, to Jesus, to Abraham alayhi salam. However, Sharia is something different. Sharia are these sort of more detailed laws which are legislated for each religion. Like, for example, in Judaism, they had to keep Sabbath as holy, and they shouldn't have worked in Sabbath. We didn't have such a thing in the religion of Abraham. Or, for example, in Islam, we have pilgrimage or Jummah prayer that we didn't have in previous religions. These are small sort of items of worship, which Allah says, لَكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا مِنْكُمْ شَرْعَةً وَمِنْهَاجًا. For each of you, we have set a shari'ah, that's these sort of minor paths that you have to follow. And of course, a minhaj. Minhaj is a prescription of how you have to practice that. For example, let me give you another example. When the Prophet, peace be on him, was born, Judaism was the faith in Arabia, at least in Medina, in other places. Christianity was the prevalent sort of religion around the world. However, the Prophet did not practice Christianity or Judaism. He did practice the religion of Abraham, as it's mentioned in the Quran, ثُمَّ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ أَنِ اتَّبِعْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا. And we revealed to you that you have to follow the religion of Abraham. So we believe that the Prophet, peace be upon him, before revelation coming to him, was practicing religion of Abraham. And that had some sort of differences with Judaism of the time and Judaism of the time of Moses as well, because there were certain legislations which were legislated for Banu Israel specifically. However, after the advent of Islam, all Sharia, not Sharia. Sharia has always been the same from the beginning of the creation of man on the earth. But the Sharia, these small items of worship, differ in different religions. For example, in Islam, Allah legislated a different Qibla for us than He legislated it for the Jews and Christians. Or Allah legislated the fast of Ramadan for us, while He legislated fast of other months for Jews and Christians. And therefore, yes, religion of Islam has been the one religion since the time of Adam alayhi salam. And as I said, we'll inshallah discuss this in more detail next week. However, there were specific sort of codes of practice which pertain to each individual religion.
Thank you very much. We have another question. Assalamu alaikum, dear Sheikh. Thank you for the dars. We see for ourselves that mankind is unjust to God's creation in actualizing their desire and the destruction of creation's natural resources, leading to disaster for the rest of creation. We see rising sea levels, global warming, pollution, etc., as manifestation of the outcomes of this injustice. How and when do we see the interventions to bring this injustice into balance?
Well, we can see that actually nowadays. We can see that in the fires in California. We can see that in different parts of the world, the diseases which are actually accompanied by these injustices that we do to the nature, the change in quality of food that we see because of our intervention in agriculture. And it doesn't come by itself. We have to mend it. These are actually warnings for us that you are doing injustice to the nature, and you have to change your behavior with regards to the nature. And if that doesn't come, the balance will be that many people will die, many people will lose the opportunities of good life, and of course, those who are the main perpetrators of these injustices done to the nature will be held responsible in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. We have a question that is unrelated to the talk today from
Yes.
from Nizar Uncle. He says, sorry for moving away from the topic today, but I wish to ask my perennial question that I ask each year around this time. I have, of
Yes.
course, heard your answer in the past, but I want the rest of the audience to hear the answer as well. Can you please comment on the authenticity of the complete Ziyarat Ashura as it is? Could you also comment on the dua Azmal Bala?
Well, the dua of Azum al-Bala is a dua which has been reported in some books in the 7th and 8th centuries. We don't have any trace of that in the previous books. And it is based on a dream that someone had from the Imam, the 12th Imam, Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, teaching him this dua. How much we can rely on a dream and who that person was, how much we can rely on this narration, and why this narration did not appear in the books prior to 7th century, are all questions about it. Unfortunately, now that I am here in Iran, a couple of days ago, I was just changing channels on TV because we have just numerous channels on Iranian TV. And incidentally, and to my surprise, I saw that all of them were reciting the dua of Ilahi Azum al-Bala because of the coronavirus. And I was amazed. I'm actually going to somehow object and voice my criticism to the Iranian TV, why they are using such a dua, which is first of all divisive. It's divisive because we have many Sunni brothers in Iran, all around the border counties in Iran. Most of them are Sunnis, and this is quite divisive. And they say, oh, okay, these Shias are calling upon Muhammad and Ali rather than calling upon Allah. Although we can, of course, justify that in a sense. But this type of dua is very unique and exceptional in all the dua literature that we have. In none of our du'as we ever call upon Muhammad and Ali. There is a similar hadith in Al-Kafi, not this dua, of course, a similar thing which is said, which is also, that is very strange, calling upon Jibreel. That Ya Jibreel, Ya Muhammad, is very strange, very queer. That these two instances are opposing all the literature that we have about dua, calling only upon Allah. Yes, of course, we say that we ask you by the honor of Prophet Muhammad, we ask you by the honor of Ayyam alayhi salam, inna tawassalna, inna tawajjahna wastashfa'na wa tawassalna bika ila Allah. That's fine. I mean, we bring someone, for the honor of someone, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But asking directly something, I mean, calling upon, this is against all the dua literature that we have. And it's divisive. So first of all, it's against all the dua literature that we have. Secondly, it's divisive. And thirdly, it does not appear in the books prior to 7th century. And therefore, I don't know why we should insist on a dua with all these particularities and put ourselves under heavy criticism with regards to Tawheed. This is about dua Azum al-Bala. About Ziyarah Ashura, I don't think we have to be very sensitive about it. As I said, some of the scholars have said that the last part, which says, Allahumma al'an awwala zaliman zalam haqqa Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa akhira tabi'in, Allahumma al'an awwala zaliman zalam haqqa Muhammad wa ala thumma al'an thaniya wa thalitha wa rabi'. Some say that this is not found in some versions of the dua, which were in books prior to 6th century. However, this is not verified. We haven't verified all those books actually. We haven't done a good research. And also this part of the dua is not something which is divisive, because if, of course, these people were named, it would have been very divisive. But the reason they are not named is because we don't want to somehow insult the sanctities of our Sunni brothers. However, as I said, some people say no, it's part of the dua, the last bit, and some people say that the minority say that it was not part of the dua that we have in versions of the dua before 6th century.
Thank you very much, Sheikh.
And Brother Nizar, I wait to see this question next year, this time again, inshallah, from you.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. I'm sure he will ask it again this time next year as well. I don't think we have any further questions. Thank you again, Sheikh, for joining us. Always appreciated that you take time out of your busy day to come and speak to us. I apologize for the technical difficulties to everyone that's viewing that we had today. Inshallah, we'll resolve these for next week and it won't reoccur. Sheikh, we continue again next week, inshallah?
Inshallah, inshallah. Thank you very much. Fi amanillah.
Thank you very much. Ma'as salama.
As-salam.